The 6-year-old was seconds away from being dragged into the windowless van when the massive Hell's Angel stepped out of the shadows and whispered 7 words that stopped the kidnapping cold. Before we reveal exactly what the security camera recorded that night, I have to ask, where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments below, hit that subscribe button to join our Brotherhood. Now let's get into the story. The cold bit through Raylan McGee's red hoodie like teeth. 6 years old and already shivering in a Walmart parking lot at dusk, he pressed himself against the metal cart return, watching his foster mom disappear through the sliding doors. She hadn't looked back. They never did. The diesel smell hung thick in the Dayton air, mixing with exhaust fumes and the distant hum of the interstate. Overhead lights flickered on, casting long shadows between pickup trucks and sedans. Raylan's breath came out in short white puffs. That's when he saw the van. Black. No plates. Moving too slow, circling like a shark in an aisle 3 rows down. The side door had a dent shaped like a fist. Raylan's stomach dropped. Every instinct his 6 years had taught him screamed one word: run. But his legs wouldn't move. The van stopped. The side door slid open with a metallic shriek that cut through the parking lot's ambient noise. A man inside leaned forward, face hidden in shadow, hand reaching toward the pavement. Toward him. Then boots. Heavy boots crunching on asphalt between 2 parked trucks. A massive shape emerged from the blind spot, leather cut with a skull patch, gray beard, knuckles scarred like tree bark. The biker didn't charge, didn't shout. He simply knelt down to Raylan's eye level, close enough that the boy could smell motor oil and cigarette smoke. And his voice came out in a whisper that somehow felt louder than any scream. Count to 3 and run to me. Raylan's lips trembled. Oh, 1. The van driver's door opened. 2. Boots hit the asphalt. Fast. 3. Raylan's legs exploded into motion just as a hand grabbed at empty air where he'd been standing. He crashed into the biker's chest. Leather enveloped him. The world spun as the man turned his broad back toward the van, and Raylan felt the impact, a fist, a body, something violent, connect with the wall of muscle that now stood between him and... The blade came out fast, a hunting knife with a serrated edge that caught the parking lot lights. Griggs snarled, jabbing toward Eden's ribs. The biker didn't even blink. "Hold this, kid!" Eden's helmet dropped into Raylan's trembling hands, black and heavy with a cracked visor. Then the world exploded into motion. Eden caught Griggs' wrist mid-thrust, twisted it backward until bone cracked like a dry branch. The knife clattered to the asphalt. Griggs tried to scream, but Eden's other fist was already there, a piston strike to the jaw that sent teeth scattering across the pavement like dice. The kidnapper crumpled. Behind them, the van's engine roared. Tires squealed against concrete as it peeled out, leaving Griggs twitching on the cold ground. Inside the Walmart security office, Sam dropped his coffee. The night shift guard stared at the CCTV monitor, hands frozen on the controls. He'd been watching the whole thing unfold in grainy black and white. The big biker hadn't started it. He'd ended it. Sam's finger moved instinctively, zooming in on the fleeing van. No plates. But the side panel had that distinctive fist-shaped dent. He hit record, then reached for his radio. Sirens cut through the night 3 minutes later, blue and red strobes painting the parking lot in urgent colors. Cruisers boxed in Eden's motorcycle. 4 officers emerged, hands on holsters, and the moment they saw the patch on his back, cuffs came out. "Hands behind your head, now!" Eden complied without resistance. Raylan didn't. "No!" The boy's scream was raw, desperate. He threw himself at Eden's leg, small fingers clinging to worn leather. "He saved me! He saved me!" The lead officer hesitated, glancing between the unconscious Griggs, the sobbing child, and the silent biker now kneeling in handcuffs. His radio crackled. "Dispatch, we need to review security footage. Something doesn't—" A phone buzzed in the abandoned van's direction, 3 times. Then silence. The cuffs came off at 11:47 p.m. Eden rubbed his wrists in the fluorescent glare of the police station, watching the detective slide the security footage across the desk. Sam's camera work was clean. Every frame showed Griggs attacking first, the knife, the self-defense. The law had no choice. "You're free to go, Mr. Rasmussen." The detective's voice was flat. "But stay in town." Eden nodded once, but his mind was already 3 steps ahead, replaying the van's rear panel in perfect detail. No plates, but he'd memorized something better. The faded DOT inspection sticker in the back window. Numbers he could trace. He walked out into the cold Dayton night, but the air felt different now. Heavier. The kid's face wouldn't leave his head. Eden fired up his Harley, the engine's rumble echoing off empty storefronts. He should have gone straight to the clubhouse. Should have reported in, had a drink, let it go. That's what he would have done 5 years ago. Before the custody battle. Before the system took his son and placed him with a woman who didn't know Tyler was allergic to peanuts. Before the funeral. His knuckles went white on the handlebars. Raylan's terrified eyes were Tyler's eyes. Same age, same helplessness. Eden had failed once. The court papers, the supervised visits, the lawyer fees that bled him dry while his ex disappeared into another state. None of it mattered when the school called to say Tyler had stopped breathing. The system doesn't save kids, it processes them. Eden pulled over at a red light, reached into his jacket, and unfolded the paper he'd palmed from the detective's desk. Police report. Raylan McGee, age 6, foster placement at 1847 Oakwood Terrace. He told himself he'd just ride by, make sure the kid got home safe, just a drive-by, nothing more. The house was a sagging 2-story with peeling paint and a chain-link fence held together by rust. Eden killed his engine 2 houses down, letting the bike coast to a stop beneath a dead streetlight. The porch light was out. The front door hung open. Not kicked in, just open, like no one cared enough to close it. And there on the concrete steps sat Raylan, still in that red hoodie, knees pulled to his chest, rocking slightly. Eden's jaw clenched. The foster mother's car was in the driveway, but the house was dark except for the television's blue flicker in an upstairs window. No one had come to check on the boy who'd nearly been kidnapped 3 hours ago. Eden started to swing off his bike when Raylan's head snapped up. The boy saw him. Recognition flashed across his face. Not fear, something else. Relief? Then headlights turned onto the street, black panel van, fist-shaped dent, moving slow. Eden's hand moved to the .45 tucked in his waistband, but the van crawled past without stopping, watching, hunting. The brake lights flared red at the corner, then it disappeared into the Dayton night. He waited 5 minutes. 10. The street stayed quiet except for a dog barking 3 houses down. Raylan had gone back inside, the door still hanging open like a mouth that forgot how to close. Eden kick-started his bike and told himself he'd done enough. Griggs was in custody. The kid was home. This wasn't his fight anymore. He rode to the clubhouse, repeating it like a prayer. The Death Head MC compound sat behind a body shop on the industrial side of town, razor wire glinting under sodium lights. Eden parked between two choppers and headed straight for the bar. Big Al was playing pool in the corner, smoke from his cigar hanging thick in the air. "Heard you had a night?" Al called out, not looking up from his shot. Eden poured 3 fingers of Jack Daniels. "Just wrong place, right time." "That's not what the prospects said." Al sank the 8-ball and straightened, his leather cut creaking. "Kid came back with something interesting about that van." Eden's hand stopped halfway to his mouth. A skinny kid in a probationary patch emerged from the back room, holding a manila folder like it might explode. "Did a database run on the DOT sticker you mentioned? Vans registered to Midwest Logistics LLC, shell company. Took some digging, but..." He slid a printed report across the bar top. Eden read the highlighted sections. His blood went cold. Midwest Logistics, 18 citations for trafficking violations across Ohio, Indiana, Michigan. Never enough to prosecute, always enough to raise flags. The name buried 3 layers deep in the corporate structure. Vargas, Miguel Vargas, the regional coordinator for the Sinaloa Midwest Pipeline. Not kidnappers, traffickers. "Jesus Christ," Eden breathed. His mind replayed the parking lot. Griggs's practiced movements, the van's immediate retreat, the way they'd circled like they'd done this 100 times before. This wasn't some opportunistic snatch. This was inventory collection. And Griggs wasn't lone wolf. He was an employee who'd failed to deliver. Big Al's voice cut through the realization. "The cartels don't forget witnesses, brother. That boy saw faces, and now they know where he lives." Eden's glass hit the bar with a crack. "They already came back. I just saw the van outside his house 20 minutes ago." The room went silent. 3 other members looked up from their card game. "How long you think before they make another move?" the prospect asked. Al checked his watch. "Shift change at the precinct happens at midnight. That's when patrol routes spread thin." He looked at Eden. "It's 11:52 now." Eden was already moving toward the door when his burner phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered without speaking. A voice, smooth, accented, came through the line. "The biker who broke Griggs's jaw. We know your patch. We know your bike. We know you saw our van." Eden's free hand clenched into a fist. "The boy is already ours. You just delayed the pickup. Walk away now or..." The line went dead. Headlights swept across the clubhouse windows. Multiple vehicles, coming fast. Eden's Harley screamed through red lights doing 70, the speedometer needle buried as Dayton's streets blurred past. Big Al's voice crackled through his earpiece. "We're rolling out now. 20 minutes, brother. Hold position." 20 minutes might as well be 20 hours. Oakwood Terrace was tomb quiet when Eden arrived. Every porch light was off, every window dark. Even the dog that had been barking earlier had gone silent. The street lights at both ends of the block were out, not burned out, deliberately shattered. Glass glittered on the asphalt like scattered stars. This wasn't surveillance anymore. This was an operation. Eden killed his engine and coasted the last 100 feet. The black van sat in the Foster home's driveway now, both side doors open. 2 Chevy Suburbans blocked the street, engines running. 6 men in dark tactical gear moved up the walkway with professional efficiency. No talking, hand signals only. The front door was already kicked in. Eden's jaw clenched. He pulled his .45 and thumbed off the safety, then hit Big Al's number on his burner. "They're inside. I'm going in." "Negative. Wait for—" Eden dropped the phone and moved. He came in fast and loud, firing twice into the ceiling. Plaster rained down. The tactical team spun toward him, and Eden used those 3 seconds to charge the stairs. Boots thundered behind him. A fist caught his kidney. Professional, precise. He went down hard on the landing. They swarmed him like wolves. 6 on 1. A baton cracked across his ribs. Someone's knee drove into his spine. Eden's vision exploded white, but he kept swinging, kept fighting, kept making noise. Every second they spent beating him was a second they weren't hunting Raylan. "Upstairs! Check upstairs!" someone shouted. Through the blood in his eyes, Eden saw a shadow move in the second-floor hallway. Small, red hoodie. The boy had woken up. Eden roared and drove his elbow backward, felt cartilage crunch. He threw himself toward the stairs even as fists rained down on his skull. "Back window!" he screamed. "Raylan! Back window! Now!" Another baton strike. This one dropped him. The world tilted. Eden's cheek pressed against filthy carpet that smelled like cigarettes and despair. Boots surrounded him. He heard Raylan's window slide open above, heard the boy's small body hit the bushes below with a soft thump. "He's running!" someone yelled. "Forget the biker. Get the kid." 4 men peeled off, thundering down the stairs. Eden tried to rise and caught a boot to the temple. Darkness swarmed his vision, but through the fog he saw 2 men remain behind, guns drawn. "Vargas wants to know who you are," one said in accented English, "before we dump you in the river." Eden spat blood. "Deathhead MC, and you just made the last mistake of your life." The man's radio crackled. "We lost him. Kid went into the woods behind the property." A pause, then, "Burn it. Burn everything. Make it look like a meth lab explosion." Eden's eyes widened. His bike was still out front. His cut with the club patches. If they torched this place, the police would find death-head evidence at the scene. The cartel wasn't just eliminating witnesses. They were framing the club. Gasoline smell filled the air. Then glass shattered in the kitchen. Footsteps retreated. Eden dragged himself to the window in time to see flames licking up the curtains. He had maybe 90 seconds before the whole first floor became an inferno. His phone was downstairs. His bike was out front. Raylan was alone in the woods. And the fire was spreading fast. Eden crashed through the second-story window as flames ate through the floor behind him. He hit the frost-covered grass hard, ribs screaming, and rolled. The house was already an inferno, orange light painting the dead trees behind the property in hellish glow. "Raylan!" His voice came out as a rasp. A small shape moved 30 yards into the tree line. Eden staggered toward it, every step agony. The boy was shaking violently, pressed against an oak trunk, eyes wide as searchlights swept the woods behind them. The Suburbans were circling the perimeter. They had maybe 3 minutes before the net closed. Eden spotted it through the bare branches, an old deer stand, weathered platform 15 feet up. He grabbed Raylan and climbed one-handed, his other arm useless from the beating. The boy weighed nothing. The ladder rungs were slick with ice. They collapsed onto the platform. Raylan's teeth chattered so hard Eden could hear them clicking. The temperature had dropped into the 20s. The boy's breath came out in rapid white clouds. Eden shrugged out of his leather cut. the death head patch, heavy with blood and rain. "Arms through," he whispered, wrapping it around Raylan's small frame. The cut swallowed him whole, but the boy stopped shaking as much. Something about the weight of it, the warmth, the symbol. Below, flashlight beams cut through the darkness. Men shouting in Spanish, dogs barking. They were organized, methodical, closing in. Eden's burner phone had survived in his pocket, screen cracked but functional. He pulled it out with shaking fingers and dialed Big Al. 2 rings. "Status?" "I'm hurt." Eden's voice was barely a whisper. Blood dripped from his split lip onto the wooden planks. "I got a civilian kid with me. 6, maybe 7 tangos hunting us in the woods off Oakwood. They torched the house. They're trying to frame the club." Silence on the other end, then, "How bad are you hit?" "Bad enough. Al, these aren't street dealers. This is cartel, professional. And they're not leaving witnesses." More silence. Eden watched a flashlight beam sweep 10 feet below their position. Raylan pressed against his side, tiny hands gripping the leather cut. "How long can you hold?" Al asked. "Not long." "Copy that. Going dark. Keep your head down." The line went dead. Eden closed his eyes, listening to the hunters below. Raylan's breathing was slowing down, the cold or shock pulling him toward sleep. Eden kept one hand on the boy's shoulder, feeling the rise and fall, like Tyler used to feel, before. 15 minutes passed. 20. The searchers spread out, moving deeper into the woods. Maybe they'd get lucky. Maybe the cartel would give up before. Then Eden heard it. Distant at first. A low rumble building like thunder rolling across the Ohio flatlands. But this wasn't weather. This was engines. Dozens of them. The rumble grew louder, closer. Headlights appeared on every road leading to Oakwood Terrace. Not police lights, but single beams cutting through the darkness. 40 motorcycles descended on the woods like the wrath of God. The death heads had arrived. And they'd brought war. The first gunshot cracked through the woods like a whip. Eden threw himself over Raylan as bark exploded from the oak trunk beside them. The traffickers had spotted the deer stand. Muzzle flashes lit up the darkness below, 3, 4, 5 shooters converging on their position. Rounds punched through the wooden platform, splinters raining down. "They're pinned in the stand!" someone shouted in Spanish. The old lumber yard sat 50 yards to their left, skeleton structures of rusted equipment casting jagged shadows in the moonlight. The cartel was using it for cover, advancing in tactical formation. Professional, military trained, but they'd never fought an MC before. The roar of 40 Harleys erupted from 3 directions simultaneously. Headlights blazed through the trees like spotlights hitting a stage. The traffickers spun, caught in the open, suddenly realizing they were the ones surrounded. Big Al's voice boomed through a megaphone, "Drop your weapons, you got 3 seconds." Instead, the cartel opened fire. The woods exploded into chaos. Eden pressed Raylan flat against the platform, the boy's entire body trembling beneath the oversized leather cut. Gunfire echoed off the lumber yard's metal shells. Raylan's breath came in panicked gasps, his small hands clutching Eden's torn shirt. I can't breathe." Eden gripped the boy's face, forcing eye contact. Blood dripped from his split eyebrow onto Raylan's cheek. "Hey, look at me. You remember what I said in the parking lot?" Raylan nodded, tears streaming. "We're going to do it again. Count to 3. Just focus on counting." Eden's voice stayed steady, even as bullets tore through the trees around them. 1! Below, the death heads dismounted. No guns. That wasn't their style. 24 bikers charged into the firefight with chains, bats, and tire irons. Weapons that didn't jam, didn't run out of ammunition, and left a message. 2! A trafficker's scream cut through the night as a chain wrapped around his gun hand. Big Al yanked him off his feet and into a pile of lumber. The tactical advantage evaporated. The cartel had firepower. But the MC had 40 years of street combat experience and the kind of fury that comes from protecting your own. 3. The flanking maneuver was brutal. Bikers emerged from both sides of the lumber yard, cutting off retreat. A Suburban tried to ram through. A biker threw a Molotov cocktail through the windshield. The vehicle swerved and crashed into a stack of pallets. It was over in 90 seconds. The surviving traffickers were face down in the frozen dirt, hands zip-tied behind their backs. But Eden's radio crackled with Big Al's voice, urgent now. "Main target's running. Black van heading east on Oakwood." Eden struggled to his feet, every nerve screaming. Through the trees he could see taillights disappearing around the corner. The van. Vargas was fleeing, and Raylan's foster mother's body had just been found in the burning house. Vargas knew if he got away, he'd disappear across state lines before dawn. The only witness left who could identify him was a 6-year-old boy in an oversized leather cut, standing on a deer stand in the middle of a war zone. Below, an engine roared to life. The van was coming back. Eden heard the engine before he saw the headlights. A diesel roar building speed through the narrow access road. The black van burst through the tree line doing 50, aiming straight for the deer stand like a battering ram. "Jump!" Eden grabbed Raylan and threw them both over the edge. They hit the ground hard, Eden's body cushioning the boy's fall. His already broken ribs cracked further. White-hot pain exploded through his chest, but he rolled, covering Raylan with his body as the van's bumper clipped the deer stand support post. Wood splintered. The platform collapsed where they'd been standing 2 seconds earlier. The van skidded to a stop 20 feet away, tires churning frozen mud. Through the cracked windshield, Eden saw him clearly for the first time. Vargas. Late 40s, scar running through his left eyebrow, cold eyes that had watched too many people die. The cartel regional coordinator, the man who'd built a pipeline trafficking children across the Midwest. Their eyes locked. Vargas shifted into reverse. He wasn't running away. He was lining up another pass. The van's tires spun, finding traction. Eden had maybe 3 seconds before 2 tons of steel crushed them both into the mud. Big Al was screaming something in the distance. Bikers were running toward them, but nobody would reach them in time. Eden's hand found his .45, half buried in the dirt. 1 shot left in the magazine. He'd counted. His vision swam, blood loss and adrenaline making the world tilt sideways. He couldn't see straight, couldn't aim at the driver through reinforced glass, but he could see the tires. "Count to 3, Eden whispered to Raylan, more for himself than the boy. 1. The van accelerated. 2. Eden shoved Raylan hard to the left, sending him rolling behind a fallen log. 3. Eden stood his ground and fired. The front passenger tire exploded. The van lurched violently right, Vargas overcorrecting. The vehicle's momentum carried it sideways, front end swinging like a pendulum. Metal screamed against frozen earth. The van flipped once, twice, slamming down on its roof 10 feet from where Eden stood. Silence. Then hissing. Steam. The stench of gasoline. Eden staggered forward, 45 hanging loose in his grip, and yanked open the crushed driver's door. Vargas hung upside down in his seatbelt, blood running down his forehead, but conscious, alive. His hand scrambled for something. A gun, a knife, anything. Eden grabbed him by the collar and dragged him out through broken glass. Vargas tried to fight, but Eden drove a knee into his spine and pinned him face down in the mud. No mercy, no hesitation. "Stay down," Eden growled, pressing the 45's barrel against the back of Vargas's skull. Sirens wailed in the distance, multiple units coming fast. Someone had called in the gunfire. Good. Eden needed witnesses, needed the law to see this. Vargas alive meant testimony, meant evidence, meant the whole pipeline exposed. Big Al arrived first, breathing hard. "Police are 30 seconds out." "Good," Eden rasped. "I want them to see who these men are, who they hunt, what they do to kids." Red and blue lights flickered through the trees. Raylan emerged from behind the log, still wrapped in the oversized death head cut, and walked toward Eden with small, deliberate steps. The boy's hand slipped into Eden's free hand, and for the first time since the parking lot, Raylan spoke. "Thank you." The police cruisers screeched to a stop, flooding the scene with light, but Eden's vision was darkening. Blood loss, shock. He tried to stay upright, tried to hold on to Vargas, his legs gave out. The last thing he saw before the darkness took him was Raylan's terrified face and Big Al's voice shouting for an ambulance. Eden woke up 3 days later in a hospital bed with 17 stitches, 4 broken ribs, and a federal prosecutor sitting in the corner. Vargas had talked. The entire Sinaloa Midwest pipeline collapsed within a week. 18 arrests across 5 states, evidence from the van linking them to 43 missing children. The FBI called it the biggest trafficking bust in Ohio history. Eden's testimony wasn't even needed. The security footage from the Walmart parking lot and the burned foster home had gone viral. 30 million views showing exactly who the monsters were and who had stood against them. Raylan was placed with his aunt in Columbus, a woman who'd been fighting the system for custody for 2 years, but had been denied because she worked night shifts as a nurse. After the news broke, the state fast-tracked the placement. The boy finally had a home. 4 months later, Eden was pumping gas outside Dayton when a silver Honda pulled up to the next pump. The door opened and Raylan exploded out. No fear, no hesitation, no counting needed. He crashed into Eden's legs with the force of a comet, arms wrapped tight. "Easy, kid," Eden laughed, the sound rusty from disuse. "Ribs are still healing." The aunt approached, extending her hand. "I've been trying to find you for weeks. Wanted to say thank you properly?" Eden nodded, but his eyes stayed on Raylan. The boy had grown. The hollowness in his cheeks was gone. He was wearing a new jacket, bright blue this time, but underneath Eden could see it. The small death head patch sewn onto the collar, his cut. The one Eden had wrapped around him in the deer stand. "He won't take it off," the aunt said softly. "Says it's his armor." Eden knelt down, ignoring the protest from his ribs. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small leather patch, a miniature version of the club's road name tags. Guardian, it read in silver thread. He pressed it into Raylan's palm. "You earned this. You were braver than most men I've known." Raylan's eyes went wide. "Does this mean—" "It means your family. Always." They drove away 10 minutes later, Raylan waving through the back window until the Honda disappeared around the corner. Eden stood alone at the pump. engines humming around him like a hymn. He touched the spot on his chest where the boy's head had rested that night. Inside the gas station, the security footage played on the evening news, a viral loop of a biker whispering to a terrified child in a red hoodie. The caption read, "Hero or outlaw?" Eden smiled. The answer didn't matter. Blood makes you related. But standing in the cold when a child needs you, that's what makes you family. If you believe that a true guardian appears when you least expect it, and that protecting an innocent child is the highest law of all, like and share this story. Subscribe now for more stories like this. Also, check out the 2 videos showing on the screen right now, specially crafted for you.